urgency of the time was something that Zhang Yi hadn't even thought of. He glanced at the satellite phone and it was now 3:57 p.m., which meant that in a little over 10 hours, they would be departing for Jiangning City to carry out their mission. Lan Xincheng followed the predetermined program and told the three teams about the mission. The area that the other party is currently operating in is the Jiangning Plaza in the center of Jiangning City. It's one of the busiest commercial neighborhoods in the area, and they've used a technology that shields them from satellite detection, making it impossible for us to monitor them in real time. At that time, we will first bombard the entire Jiangning Plaza in all directions. Afterwards, your three teams will act as the vanguard and slowly approach Jiangning Plaza from three directions. While waiting for the enemy to appear, your task will be to stall them and engage in a tangle with them. The rest will be left to the main force, this time Heavenly God Squad. As for the specific details of the mission, Lan Xincheng only skimmed over them. This was also to prevent the leakage of information and avoid a situation similar to the first battle. After Lan Xincheng finished speaking, he looked at the crowd and once again inquired, "Any more questions?" Xiao Lingling sneered and hugged her arms full of disinterest. The others all had similar expressions. Regarding their positioning, they were very clear and had long been mentally prepared. But so what if they were the bait? As long as this mission was successful, the benefits they could receive were quite considerable. Combat Minister Tu Yunlai slowly stood up and said in a deep voice, "For the sake of this battle, the headquarters has equipped you with specialized armaments. Please come with me to receive it later." He paused and emphasized again, "It's the special armament used by the Yanyan army." When Zhang Yi and the others heard this, a look of curiosity and anticipation flashed in their eyes. "Everyone!" Zhu Jing stood up, and the others stood up one after another. Zhu Jing's face was serious, as if it was a piece of raw black iron. "This battle is about the reputation of our Jiangnan region and the honor of our country. Therefore, I ask all of you to fight hard to kill the enemy and make sure to slaughter this group of Ronin to the end." The crowd replied in unison, "Yes, sir." The loud and firm voices shook the ceiling. It didn't matter where these people came from, whether they were good, evil, despicable, cunning, or meticulous. However, they would not ignore the injustice of their family and country. This was an honorable deed, enough to stand up with their chests and to proudly speak of it in the future. After the meeting ended, Zhu Jing said some more words of encouragement and later, had left Deng Shintong and Tu Yunlai alone. As core members, they still had more detailed battle plans to discuss. And the job of bringing Zhang Yi and the other outer city mutants forward to pick out their equipment was given to Bai Li Changqing. To be honest, Zhang Yi felt a bit stifled as he watched. At least he was nominally the captain of the investigation team, at the same level as Deng Shintong. But it was obvious that Bai Li Changqing had not entered the core circle of the combat center at all. One could only say that Blizzard City was a place where strength was paramount. The level of ability determined one's status. Zhang Yi and the others followed Bai Li Changqing all the way to the weapons depot below. After going through layers of identity verification, Bai Li Changqing opened the warehouse door of the weapons depot. What met their eyes was a huge armory, in which rows and rows of weaponry were neatly placed. Guns, various cold weapons, and battle suits. Bai Li Changqing turned around and smiled as he spread his hands towards the crowd. "Gentlemen, you can take as many weapons here as you want." Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows. "Oh?" The smile on Bai Li Changqing's face froze and he hurriedly changed his words. "I mean the weapons that can be carried on your body. Space mutants are not allowed to use their space abilities." Zhang Yi shrugged indifferently. Ordinary equipment was not something he would have looked at in the first place. As soon as he arrived here, his eyes were fixed on the various battle suits inside. The crowd couldn't wait to run into the weapons storehouse, then stared at the large number of new weapons inside with bright eyes. Some people had clear goals and quickly found the right armament for themselves inside. Some were pondering on what kind of weapon was suitable for them. As for Zhang Yi, after arriving at the battle suit area, he reached out and took down a black tight suit from the wall. However, after the clothes were on, his brows frowned slightly. the feeling of this suit was fundamentally different from the battle suit he wore in the martial arts field that day. He tried the other battle suits again and found that they all had the same texture. What's going on here? Could that be a higher-level equipment? Zhang Yi thought of this and raised his head to scan the entire weapons warehouse. Indeed, the weapons and equipment here were all very advanced, but they were all general-purpose armaments. Thermal weapons did not mean much to Zhang Yi. He had the White Eagle and Thunderstrike that Liu Karen had customized for him, and the power of these two weapons, without exaggeration, reached the pinnacle of single-combat thermal weapons. Used in conjunction with Zhang Yi's abilities, they were far stronger than anything like the Barrett or the Sandhawk. As for cold weapons, Zhang Yi walked over and casually picked up a dark dagger, placing it in his hand and trying it out. Sure enough, it was not made of Edelman metal. He basically had an understanding in his mind. It seemed that the arsenal that the Jiangnan region had opened up to them was not exactly full-scale. Zhang Yi walked back without budging and came to Bai Li Changqing's side. He lowered his voice and said, "Are you guys just going to use these things to get rid of us?" Bai Li Changqing laughed. "This is not a perfunctory way to get rid of you. These are the common weapons of the Yanyan army." Then, Zhang Yi looked at him in puzzlement. Bai Li Changqing explained, "The battle suit that you used in the martial arts field before is only available to the investigation forces and a small portion of the top brass with special privileges. As for the weapons made of Edelman metal, it's the same. They're not common goods." Zhang Yi's heart spat out. The headquarters was really stingy. It had come to such a dire situation, but they still didn't bring out the best weapons and equipment for them to use. However, on second thought, it was reasonable. After all, those weapons, if they appeared in the outer city, would be classified as a divine artifact-level weapon. Weapons such as Zhang Yi's Holy Judgment Sword and Liang Yu's Dragon's Roar Sword that were made out of Edelman metal. If they were handed out in large quantities, it might cause a disaster in the future, and it may also lead to the leakage of technology. Understanding was understanding, but Zhang Yi was a person who was always a bastard if he didn't take advantage of a bargain. He came up to Bai Li Changqing and said in a low voice, "Regardless of what they do, you have to give me and Liang Yu a set of battle suits. With our friendship, this matter is fine, right?" Bai Li Changqing's face was a bit troubled. Those are regulated high-level equipment, they can't be given so easily to other people. Especially the battle suits, those are high-tech products. I can't give them to you either. This might be difficult to do. Zhang Yi opened his mouth requesting 2 sets, which made it difficult for him. Zhang Yi's eyes glared. "Difficult to do? Then don't do it." Bai Li Changqing waved his hand smilingly. "Don't be angry. This matter is troublesome, but it's not non-negotiable. If it was someone else, Bai Li Changqing would have to consider the possibility of them dying in battle. But when it came to Zhang Yi, there was absolutely no need to worry about this. In the entire Blizzard City, there weren't many people who truly understood Zhang Yi's strength, and he, Bai Li Changqing, was definitely one of the very few who knew it best. Because Zhang Yi personally told him, his strength is no less than the late Captain Bian Junwu. Combined with Zhang Yi's behavioral style, it would be harder than hell to make him die. "Then tell me, what should we do?" Zhang Yi asked. Bai Li Changqing looked around and pulled Zhang Yi to an unoccupied corner, then said in a low voice, "I'll give you guys the battle suit of Meng Xiu and I first. But when you guys come back, you must return it to us. As for weapons, you all have your own exclusive ones, so there's no need to ask me for them anymore." Zhang Yi saw Bai Li Changqing's serious expression and understood in his heart the rarity of that battle suits. Although it was unfortunate that he couldn't claim a set of 10 or 8 to go back. But it was still good to be able to get 2 sets to wear, and it would greatly increase their survival rate in the mission. "Alright then, it's a deal." Zhang Yi returned to the armory and pretended to pick some equipment. The others also each picked out their own armament, with nothing missing from their bodies. It was as if they were armed to the teeth. These standardized weapons used by the Yanyan Special Forces, although they were relatively ordinary for Zhang Yi, they were all excellent things for the rest of them. After the people had selected their weapons, Bai Li Changqing said to them, "Now, everyone will temporarily stay in the combat center and stand by. Someone will send you all there when it's time." The combat center was relatively large, so naturally, there was also a resting area. Thus, the mutants in the outer city separated in twos and threes, with some discussing the next tactics with serious expressions, while others went on their own to recuperate and prepare for the next big battle. Zhang Yi, on the other hand, mysteriously called up Liang Yu and followed by Li Changqing along, going to their Black Robe Investigation Squad's dedicated rest area. Bai Li Changqing asked Meng Xiu for her battle suit, and handed over his set to Zhang Yi along with it. The battle suit was intelligently shrinkable, so there would be no mismatch in terms of body size. "Go next door to change first." Zhang Yi handed Meng Xiu's set of battle suit to Liang Yu. Liang Yu had seen this black battle suit before, and had heard Zhang Yi talk about how amazing it was. When she got the battle suit, she couldn't help but say in her heart how Zhang Yi had even asked for such a thing. It was really amazing. She took the battle suit and went to the women's locker room next door without haste. Zhang Yi, on the other hand, went to the men's locker room and started undressing himself. Just at this time, Bai Li Changqing walked in from outside. Zhang Yi turned back and met his eyes with a few wary glances. "What are you doing in here?" At this moment, he had just taken off his shirt, revealing his lean upper body.